The following resource was created by people with disabilities.
Hi, so you want to be a support worker? That's great. I hope your experience is a positive one.
We're making this resource today to help support workers provide a more useful level of service to the individuals they help when those individuals are participating in the community.
We have a few aims that we want to achieve here.
We want to increase the level of assistance that you give to an individual when they're contributing to their community.
To establish better communication between individuals and support workers.
And the main aim, which is to increase contribution from people with disabilities in the community.
I think what makes a good support worker relationship is trust, empathy, sense of humour, and the ability to support me in any environment that I might be in.
Remember, you're an employee and they're your boss. Your job is to help them lead an independent life.
It's important to respect the autonomy of the individual and the choices that they make.
Part of our role is to assist the individuals we're working with to achieve their goals.
We all need privacy. It's a part of the relationship we have with support workers.
Also remember, if you make a commitment to a shift or individual, stick to it. The decisions you make around your availability will impact someone else's life.
Stay off your phone.
Stay off your phone, yes.
Stay off your phone.
Stay off your phone.
It's their job to not be on their phones. It's the job to be with the person.
If your phone is a distraction, perhaps put it somewhere else during your shift.
So the individual has told you they want to contribute more to the community, and that's good because that will help them to socialize with greater network of people, and they will increase the capacity to go in and out to the community and empower and fulfill their dreams and goals.
By connecting to your community, you feel better about yourself, and then your health and well-being will be a lot better.
There's many ways for the individual to, be engaged in the community. Find out what they might want to do, like join a group, study, join their local council, attend meetings, events, find out what's meaningful.
It might be useful to look at the individual's strengths and interests and then find a way to share these with the community. For example, if they want to make a positive change in the community, they could join a local peer action group or council advisory committee.
Being aware of where the information can be found and looking for it and helping the individual to do the same and having a chat about what the options are and seeing what might suit.
So the individual has chosen some things they would like to do. Now it is time to reach out and connect. Depending on the strengths of the individual, it may be useful to provide support in areas of need. So for example, if the individual cannot physically type an email, perhaps the individual can dictate the information while you type. Or maybe the individual is good at brainstorming ideas, but not great at forming complex sentences. You may be able to provide support here.
So do we have to write an email or do we have to make a call? Okay, we will practice before it. And if you're happy with that, we will go from there.
Before we go to a meeting, job interview or whatever's been organised, I would be talking to my individual that I'm supporting and seeing do they want to talk a little bit more about what they want to get as an outcome, how they can present themselves, any questions that they might want to ask or any discussions they might want to have, and maybe write them down so that we can go over them. And then also if they want me to contact the organisation with any of their needs that they might have and just confirm that the building's accessible, there are toilets that are accessible, and that the group that they're going to understands that there's going to be a support worker.
You may have heard the social model of disability. It's where factors in the world and society may further disable the individual. For example, the problem isn't a person being in the wheelchair. The problem is that there's stairs. which makes the building not accessible. So take that social model of disability. You could say for intellectual disability, it's a bit the same. It might not be the person's inability to participate. It might be that the group isn't accessible, like attitudes, or they're speaking too fast, or the language isn't simple enough.
The more we can look beyond a person's disability and see their individual strengths, the more inclusive communities will become, and that will have benefits for everybody in the community.
Before we head into a meeting, I always think it's important to discuss what the actual meeting's about. If I expect them or need them to take notes, if I'm going to be taking a more active part, such as a presentation, making sure I'm appropriately dressed, making sure I've got everything that I need.
If there is an agenda beforehand, knowing what will be talked about at the meeting could be helpful for some people, and also any ideas that they might have to have talked about with their support worker. So if there's anything they want to bring up, that could be helpful.
Maybe before going straight in, do they want to go over the questions they wish to ask and do a question-answer scenario, just to get their confidence up, because some people may not have been in the community for quite a while or may not have that confidence in talking to other people.
There's two things that I would recommend. The first thing would be to maybe practice doing like the meetings with them and see what they can do, see when it needs a little bit of work and give them a little bit of advice. And the second thing I would recommend is to just give them some tips as to what to say or what to do during meetings or interviews or anything of the sort.
Etiquettes, like, you know, when to shake someone's hand, when to get some food, when to sit down, like when to talk.
Discuss the toilet breaks and stuff like that before we end up at the meeting.
It's always good if we have a conversation beforehand. He can tell me what it requires, if he needs me in the meeting, if he needs me to take notes, anything that he requires. It's also good for us to discuss beforehand because we can both be relaxed.
If you have prepared notes, make sure the font is big enough and the pages are in the right order. Please make sure you bring them along.
When your individual wants to participate in a group, I think for support workers, it doesn't mean that you can just walk out of the room and get on your phone, or be in the room and get on your phone. You need to make sure you've discussed it with the individual. Do they want you to sit next to them? Do they want you to take minutes? And be more active and proactive with what that individual might need. It's not just to sit there somewhere in the room.
There sometimes might be unforeseeable things that can happen. Jethro might drop something, I have to go and pick it up, such as his phone. So I can't be sitting on my phone. I have to be attentive and be aware about what's going on, even if I'm not involved in the meeting.
Be in the meeting as like an add-on to the individual you're supporting. There's a difference between being in a meeting and actually participating in a meeting, and a little bit of a nudge and a little bit of support can go a long way.
And they can also like rephrase a question if it's too hard, because some people may not understand questions better than others.
As a support worker, I'm listening to the meeting and I know what's going there. I can help my individual, so this is what's the meeting about, and I can have a good discussion with the individuals because maybe he might be missing something.
So I would say to the support worker, I'd say just check with the participant that they're having what they want to say heard, and also if they're happy with it, that you get the facilitator's attention to make sure that the participant gets to have their say.
After a meeting, a support worker can support the individual to send emails, find out if they want to participate more, or if there's any tasks or things to do in between meetings, go through the notes that you may have taken for them and, you know, unpack it, make phone calls. If they want to connect with people that they've got their contact details for, find out if they want to, you know, do it again.
Some people, if it's a one-off meeting, they might like to send a thank you to the group or the chair for being inclusive. if indeed they have been, and or they might have thought a little bit more about what was on the agenda and have come up with some ideas that they'd like to add, I suppose. And so again, it's about contacting the chair and say, look, could we add these to the agenda, or these are some of the things that we've come up with between meetings.
Have a conversation around, would you like to come back again if you're asked? Would you like to sign up to any letters or an events register so that they are notified of further events?
If they have any feedback they want to give to the individual for how they did in the interview, I suggest they would tell them the feedback in like the most polite way possible, so they don't feel like they're just talking down to them or criticizing them or anything.
It can be helpful to have a debrief and just go over the minutes if there are any, and what did I agree to do something.
Having a chat after the meeting and seeing if you as a support worker can do anything better next time.
So support them to keep doing the good stuff and the stuff they can do independently, and help them to talk about what they struggled with, why they struggled with it, what barriers there were, and work through that.
If a support worker knows they can't make a shift, I think it's really important to let the individual know as soon as they know, so they can contact somebody else. It's important that there's decent handover if that's possible, so that might include the individual having a piece of paper or something that's easy to access in their house that talks about what their disability is, what their support needs are. I do know some people with a disability they have a WhatsApp group, so everybody knows what's happening, knows what's happened in the last shift, what's coming up in future shifts, so that could also be a way of keeping in touch with everybody.
They are relying on us on an everyday basis. I know everything from dawn to dusk, but maybe the new support worker doesn't know about it. So it's my duty and responsibility to showcase everything what things are.
Never underestimate the work you do. It's really important for individuals to have support and to have good relationships with their support workers. It's rewarding, I think, certainly for the individual who then has the ability to access and engage with the community that they may not have had previously.
As a support worker, I find it really difficult when I go out and see people accessing the community and all they're doing week after week is going and sitting at a coffee shop. Accessing the community should be something that person wants to do, but also that maybe benefits them and helps them to grow, as well as assisting the community with their intelligence and with what they have as lived knowledge to make things better for everybody. It's not just sitting on your phone, it's not just dropping people in a space and saying, well, yeah, they're in the community.
Remember, we all want better outcomes for people with disability, and that's to, engage in their community and society more.
Being a support worker is about putting the individual first. You want to make sure they get the right support and that they're satisfied with the support that you're giving them. But it's also more important for you to have fun. Engage with the individual, build a relationship with the individual.
I think for me, a good support worker is someone you can trust and have good rapport with, someone that has mutual respect for me.
You have to enjoy it and have the skills and the knowledge and know about disability before you do it.
I encourage all support workers to give the best support you can.
Good luck out there. I hope that the individuals that you support get a meaningful life.
As a support worker, you can do a lot of things. You're just giving wings to their dreams.